gang, Greta Schulz again. I want to talk to you today about cold calling. Well, that's a strange thing you're going to talk to us about, Greta. You always tell us you don't believe in it. Well, in the long run, I don't think cold calling is your best bet. But cold calling is also something that you may need to do at the beginning of a job when you first start one. Or maybe you need to do it because you're starting a new division or you have a new group of people that you're going after. Oftentimes, it does help to do some level of cold calling until you work yourself into building everything on referrals. So if you're going to do that, I would like to talk to you about it. If you don't do cold calling at all and you refuse to do it, then you don't have to listen to this. But I think for a lot of people, they have that in their repertoire as at least part of their activity, so I want to go ahead and put that down. So, couple things. The whole idea about cold calling is the reason it doesn't work as well today as it did years ago is because your prospects are much more savvy than they were. They expect it. They know that when somebody calls up and says, "Can I talk to the person in charge of fill in the blank?" Oh God, here it is, the sales call. So in my opinion, I'm always about being honest and putting things up front. In my opinion, I think what you do is you call that and you just say, "Hey, yeah, that's what this is." There's a couple different things I'm going to share with you and a couple of ideas. Certainly take it and do whatever you would like to do with it, but I think there's some different ways that might make this a little bit less uncomfortable and a little bit more successful for you. First, I think it's very important if you're going to cold call, so when you call somebody, it's real honest. So, for example, and I'm going to give you some stories of people that I've met over the years that have done a good job on this. I worked with a woman years ago named Leslie, and Leslie worked for the Business Journal, which I know you're all familiar with. There's business journals in every city around the country, and of course I write for a lot of them, so hopefully you're reading me in those. But the point is, when Leslie started working for the Business Journal, she had worked 20 years in New York for another advertising publication, moved to South Florida, and started working for the South Florida Business Journal. She had a list of people she needed to start building relationships with, so she did. And she would pick up the phone and say, "Hi, this is Leslie with the South Florida Business Journal, and this is a cold call. If you want to hang up, go ahead." And that alone I thought was really funny, but I thought that was really good because that's what people are thinking of anyway. Another thing that she did a couple different things, which I really liked, was kind of a spin on that one, is she said, "Hi, this is Leslie with the South Florida Business Journal. As much as you hate getting cold calls, I hate making them. But I've been in the advertising business for 20 years in New York, and I just started down here in South Florida. So if you want to hang in there with me, great. If you want to hang up, go ahead. It's been happening all day." I think either one of those, the shorter or longer version, are terrific. Why? Because it's real, and it shows vulnerability. Very important when you're cold calling to be vulnerable, because people react to that. What we often try to do when we're cold calling is try to trick the gatekeeper and try to get by them by saying it's a personal call, or it's just, they've heard all those tricks, and I never believe in tricks anyway. So if you're cold calling, let them know you're going to cold call. I like that. The other thing you can do is certainly you want to use your ground rules in cold calling, and ground rules are extremely important. So one of the ways you can do that is you can say, "Hi, I'm calling for, Jane," or "Hi, Jane, this is Greta with ABC Company. I saw your website and I looked at it and thought, from what you did and what I do, I thought there'd be some things that we may be able to work on together, but I don't want to assume that there is. So before I tell you all the wonderful things about what we do and how we help people and, and bore you to death, I thought what I would do is ask you some questions about blank, marketing or whatever, and you can ask me some questions, and at the end of our few minutes, we can either discover, hey, maybe there is something we can do, and then we can set whatever our appointment might be, or we can decide that there isn't, and all we did was waste a few minutes. Any form of that is fine. But ground rules are very, very important when it comes to cold calling.